And you're listening to Power Talks with Beth Ann and Melody Cedarstrom in the morning, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there is absolute power in truth. Truth will set you free, you know that, right? And we welcome you today to Power Talks, and welcome Melody Cedarstrom, my partner, as we empower you with truth. Well, Melody, there's so much stuff going on that it's unreal. I was going to start out with the dossier, and I have lost it. I know it's right in front of me, but we were talking about that before we went on the air, here it is, and I've got red pen all over it, that's why I couldn't see it, that the Clinton campaign and the DNC paid for the, how do you pronounce it, dossier or dossier?
Dossier.
Anyway, yeah.
Dossier.
Well, how come it's derriere? I'm just saying. Okay, dossier. And
because it's ER, not OS.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to have French lessons later because I didn't take any French in class.
Well, that's right. Das. What'd we say it was? Das.
You said dossier. I said, dossier. Well, then why is the other called derriere? Okay. Anyway,
it all depends on what part of the country you're from.
Well, in Hicksville.
Well, it was interesting.
Missouri, I say dossier, and somebody got on to me yesterday for that.
It was interesting because last night I was watching Fox News and they were interviewing Laura Ingalls.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they asked her a question about it. And I was a little surprised. And, of course, I'm the only one that would pick up on that. But usually, and maybe she wasn't now, because she actually said dossier, but then she corrected herself to dossier. And I'm thinking, well, she's reading it. Because usually when you make that type of error, you're reading from something. So she's reading from a monitor. But maybe she wasn't. But so I just thought it was a little interesting. But she corrected herself from
So I'm in the same class with Laura.
You're in the, yeah.
Ingram, I mean. All right. Well, the Hillary Clinton
whatever
campaign,
her name is.
Well, the first name's Laura. I think I got that right.
I know Laura, yes.
Anyway, the Clinton campaign. We're going to get on with the story, right? The Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democrat National Committee paid for the research that became the infamous dossier on President Donald Trump after the original Republican donor stopped funding it. So the GOP, I put down in the side notes, any bets on who the GOP traitor might have been that did this. It goes on to say, and an unknown GOP donor first contracted Fusion GPS to do research on Trump during the Republican primaries, but at some point stopped paying. And that is when lawyer Mark Elias, I guess, Elias, who represented the Clinton campaign and the DNC, stepped in with his law firm, Perkins Coie, Coie. Fusion GPS hired former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele to do the work, which began as a look into the billionaire real estate developer's background, but turned to looking at Trump's Russia ties when it became apparent that they are extensive, sources told the Post. Well, it goes on down here. It said the Clinton campaign paid Perkins Coie $5.6 million in legal fees between June 2015 and December 2016, according to the Post. Citing campaign finance records, the DNC paid them $3.6 million in legal compliance consulting, excuse me, though it is not clear how much of that was related to Fusion GPS. Neither the Clinton campaign nor the DNC ever directed Steele's work, the Post source said. The probe continued into October 2016, just days before the general election. The FBI continued paying for the research after the election until Steele's name was made public. The FBI said some of the information in the dossier has been verified, though not the more salacious aspects, which Trump has denied. So, it got to one point, and I'm not going to continue reading the article, it's pretty lengthy. Well, it's just about a half page more anyway. When the FBI starts picking up the tab, that means taxpayers are paying for it. And we didn't even know it, did we?
No, and that's, there's, you can go back and forth. There's a lot of issues and so forth, but that's where I really begin to have a problem is when the taxpayers begin to pay for something. And, so, I mean, I don't know if they'll ever.
With how dirty politics is.
Yeah,
I have an extreme problem with that.
Well, I do too, but it's not surprising. I mean, here we have, here you have Jeff Flake says he's not going to run for re-election in 2018. Well, my question is, if he feels so strongly about what is happening with the president, why wouldn't you stay and fight? If you feel so strongly against something, and you're in a position, and if you think you're right, you think your conservative ideas why wouldn't you stay and fight for something that you believe in? You're in the position to do something.
He knows he's going to lose.
He knows he's going to lose. But if his ideas were so correct, then he would have a possibility of winning. But instead, no, he's giving up even before he even tried to win, because you could turn it around and, if you were smart, you could run a decent campaign and so forth, whether you win or lose, who knows. But he's basically giving up, and I'm not a fan of Flake.
No.
I'm not a fan, absolutely not. He's part of the swamp. But I'm saying this as turning it on him. If you were such a, upstanding senator and you felt so strongly that we had problems, you'd be there to fight and to expose. But he can't expose what he is a part of. So he has to step down.
He and Corker and McCain and the two women one is in Alaska, I can't think of her name, and another female, and then Sass out of Nebraska, have all been obstructionists just right along with the Democrats. And it's not just that they don't like policies. They're not even giving the president, the people that he's nominated or asked to have in positions with his cabinet and his administration. They are not okaying the judges that he has nominated. They've been slowly getting that done. They're not doing much of anything. They don't work as hard as you and I do. I'll guarantee you they don't stay up late night working. And Sass, for those who maybe listen to CSC Talk Radio as well, know that he is one of them that went around campaigning to repeal COOL, which is country of origin labeling, so that you don't have a right to know if your beef comes from some country in Africa or somewhere else abroad, Mexico, somewhere else. USA beef is better beef. It has the safer restrictions and regulations and blah, 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 blah. But they bring this stuff across the border and they mix it in, when we're talking about hamburger or something like that. And you don't have the right to know the country that it originated in, according to Sass. And so they had that implemented, and Sass was one of those that campaigned to repeal it. And then he goes around trying to tell us how constitutional he is and how much he cares about the constituents. And, Nebraska's a pretty big beef state. Beef state. It's a big beef steak. But, so these people, they're not really representing the American people. The majority of them, I call them DC occupiers, occupying offices and cutting deals, are not representing the American people. There's a very few. And even those that are the loudest that claim to be on our side, I tend to doubt. I take that with a grain of salt. I want to see results. We've got this dossier. We should know more about it than we do. I mean, how long have they been flaunting that thing? And here we're coming up with all this uranium selling America out, and the Obama administration was in on it. Clinton was getting cash for it and campaign money and whatever else, she got. That's why she was upset. Somebody did her wrong. That's why she lost. She had that election bought and paid for, and she can't believe she lost it because she worked for years getting that thing in order.
Oh, I agree. And now I think they're kind of tired of her. Now I think they want to get rid of her, and they're done. I think now they're done with her, and I think that's why a lot of this stuff is coming out now. It's because they don't want her on the trail. They don't want her to be part of the old Democratic face of the. So yeah, I think
it's interesting.
I think they're trying to get rid of her now.
I don't know about that.
She needs to go home where Billy lives now, and hopefully they don't let her get away with it. But I think that'll probably be the deal. Go away, go home, get out of the spotlight, and be done with it. But I can't even imagine how many skeletons that she knows about.
Well, remember when she walked off with the FBI files years and years ago? Mm-hmm. What does she have on everybody?
Yep.
She's got something on everybody. She started this campaign years and years and years ago. And then when she lost the primary 2008 campaign, she started in working for the next one. So she could not believe she lost it. She has worked for years.
Yes.
Compiling and concocting and colluding, and she just can't believe she lost.
And it's a two-way street. I don't know how. She did work hard, but also you wonder. She fell into all those promises as she was working hard. She fell into all those promises. Yeah, we'll make you president. But this is what
Sure.
This is what we want. We want that uranium, and we'll make sure you're president. I mean, it's just. What a bunch of fools, but they're dangerous.
The old story goes: never trust a Russian CIA guy. Not CIA. Not CIA. What do they call themselves? Oh.
KGB.
KGB. Yes. All these letters, I can't keep them straight. KGB. Never trust a KGB guy.
Hey, have people forgotten that leopards don't change or lose their spots? Is that the? I mean, people don't change. Their spots don't change.
Yeah. And Hillary, when she sits there and she's talking about this it's all been, this is just the same old stuff they bring up all the time, and it's like, no, I don't think it's the same. But anyway, she's been caught in so many lies. You can't believe a thing the woman says. Not a thing. Yeah. Anyway, this is ugly. And I want to see some heads roll. And I mean seriously, I want to see some heads roll. The American people deserve justice. Somebody called me this week and they said, well, it's actually one of my sons. He said, it's not going to happen, Mom. They're going to get away with it.
Yeah,
I said, well, I don't know. I said, the American people are pretty upset. We have watched this unfold now through the campaign, and not that I think that President Donald Trump is any saint. But what's been done to him is, I can't imagine, what his family is going through. They didn't need that. They didn't have to do that. And it's just, I think the American people really want justice. So we'll just have to see. And, of course, tomorrow is when the JFK files come out, are opened up. I don't expect that we'll learn anything there, but I don't know. There's a reason they don't want him brought out for another 20 years. They're trying to keep him from doing it. So we'll just have to see. Oh, I hear music.
Yes,
We've already gone through the first break. Through the first segment. We're into the first break. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. The number to call to join us in conversation is 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. And Melody and Beth Ann will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a reestablished Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more, using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned to listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. I was just about lost where I was, Melody. I'm in Power Talks.
Where are you?
I don't know where I'm at. I have some good news. This young man is not going to starve to death. Colin Kaepernick, the former NFL quarterback, who started the national anthem protests, he signed a $1 million book deal with Random House. $1 million book deal. He will not go hungry for a couple years. They should be able to make it.
Yeah.
He can't throw a football, but he's going to write a book. Anyway, he has a story to tell. I'm certain he has a story to tell. I thought you would, want to know about that. You'd sleep better tonight knowing that he's not going to starve to death.
Yeah, I saw where he has a book deal. It's $1 million. I mean, in today's world, that's nothing compared to his millions and millions that he made playing football. But it's something to keep him going, and unfortunately, it... Well,
if it's nothing, I'd like to have a little nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, compared to what he's used to.
Why can't I get $1 million book deal?
$1 million today doesn't do what it did,
I have a story to tell.
We have a caller.
We do.
Ed in Oklahoma. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning to you guys, and I'm very, very happy you guys are on. And I really don't have much to say because you guys pretty much say everything, and I just love your show.
Thank you.
But I'm listening to you guys on the mighty WWPR on 7.49 megahertz, and listening on Realistic DS300. And I just called and really appreciate you guys being on. And that's pretty much all I'd say.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, Ed,
we needed that pat on the back. Thank you.
Ed, you can call us every day.
Thank you very much for being on, and I look forward to hearing all you guys have to say.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that, Ed.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So.
Have a great one.
You too.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you so much. Well, that was nice.
He made my day.
He did. He
Yes.
made my day too. We can move on. We have the sunshine, thanks to Ed. We have the sunshine. Oh, sometimes we wonder, Melody and I. We never know exactly which direction we're going to go when the music starts. We come running into our studios. She's in one state, I'm in another, and we both compiled some kind of news that kind of gets us a little riled, and we neither one know what the other one's got. So sometimes it's the same, and sometimes it's not.
Well, sometimes, and what I like about it is I think one of my customers told me that we complement one another.
You look nice today, by the way.
Your hair looks great. You're having a good hair day. But no, really. You come across a different way than I do. I always try to look at the bigger pictures. We believe in the same thing, and we believe in our country and what we'd like to see the changes and those responsible to be held accountable. That's all given. And many people get on my case. They say, well, you don't like Trump. It's not that I don't like Trump or whether I do like Trump. I try to look at the bigger picture as a country, not just politically, but also financially. And I try to look and see what the New World Order is up to. I always try to read between the lines and go just a little step further. And lots of times when you take those steps, one more step, it kind of conflicts with, what, you want people to think that you believe in and what you're trying to support. I mean, I have an article here today. I was going to have it for Beth's program, so it's not right in front of me, but it really has to do a lot with China. And, I think sometimes everything that happens here, we're really missing a lot that's going on around the world and how it's going to affect us. I mean, this was a report, I think it was the last week report. We've known this was going to happen. After the crisis of 2008, China came out and says, well, we don't think there should be a one world currency, a one world reserve currency for like the U.S. dollar. It should be, a little more evenly distributed. Well, the deep meaning in that is, well, we don't think it should be the U.S. dollar at all. It should be our currency. We want to rule the world now. It's our turn to take over. And everybody says, oh, well, they have so many problems and so forth. But yet we as a country forgot that they're communists.
Yeah.
And communists will do what communists believe. And they are a threat. And yet we have opened up our trading systems so the American people can continue to buy cheap trinkets. We've outsourced our inflation. People, because we're consumers. Our economy is just based on us out there consuming. And we have to have a peak consumption somewhere along the line. You can only have so many things, and at the point is you run out of buying, you run out of money. And so there's a lot of things that are going on, and and last week was a very big week in China. You have the president of China. He has been pretty much sworn into their constitution. They gave him lots of power. So pretty much what he says, and what he wants to do is going to be done. And this is a turning point, I think. And people say, well, China's so far in debt and blah, 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 blah. Well, hello. Okay? Isn't the world in debt?
Everybody's in debt.
And everyone is doing is they're just increasing. They're living, they're expanding, whatever needs to be done to keep these systems going. There's no fixing them. There's no turning back. They're just going to keep doing whatever works to keep it going until one day it doesn't work. And I think we're soon there, particularly if they're going to be making a major move against the dollar's global dominance. And they're going to try to do it and begin as early as this year. Now, this new strategy is to enlist the energy markets. Beijing, I'm sure everyone has heard this talk that they're going to or may introduce a new way to price oil. most of the contracts has always been based in the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar, and now they're going to use China's own currency. If there's a widespread adoption, that's the key. If there's a widespread adoption, and the Chinese are hoping that there is, then it will mark a step toward challenging the greenback status as the most powerful currency. Now you have to ask yourself, well, what is going to make the rest of the world adopt their currency over the U.S. dollar? Well, look at our relationships around the world. And, you have Iran, you have all these countries that we're standing up to now that we've always sat back to, which is good, but there's also perhaps situations that are going to rise out of this. China is the world's top oil importer, and so Beijing sees it as only logical that their own currency would price the global economy's most important commodity. So they're looking to move away from the dollar. It is a strategic priority for countries like China and Russia, and both aim to ultimately reduce their dependency on the greenback. So, and they plan to use gold-backed futures contract in Shanghai. People are saying this is going to make the price of gold go up. Well, it can also make the price of gold go down. We'd have to wait and see how it actually fares out. But they're looking to price the yuan using a gold-backed futures contract. So it's not a game changer yet. This is something it should be talked about. This is something people should know about. Because this is your future. I mean, this is how our world is going to change when it comes to your savings, your retirement plans, your 401s, your IRAs, your savings. Anything that you purchase with that dollar is going to affect you. We will no longer be exporting our inflation to China. So this is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a very big deal. And, we've talked about the collapse, what would happen. Well, that's one thing that could cause it, is if all of a sudden the dollar isn't the global currency accepted with oil and some other issues as well, some other things. And that could cause a great drop, if it could drop any more. I guess it possibly can, in the value of the dollar. And so many of these other nations are, like you said, China is in great debt, but they all are. They're all running in debt. And if something collapses, I think it'll collapse globally, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
It won't just be here. It'll be globally. Something will set it off.
85% of the world's transactions are done in the U.S. dollar. Mm-hmm. So, they have a big road to haul. But if you get enough, countries falling away from, once countries begin to understand that the U.S. can no longer butter their bread, they're all out there positioning themselves. Mm-hmm. Because they all know this is going to happen. They all know there's changes coming. To them, to the global leaders, it's changes on how business is being done, and I said yesterday, how much of the piece of the pie that they're going to be able to capture.
Right.
But for the citizens and for the people of the countries, this is where wealth is redistributed again, and the destruction of wealth comes. And the powers to be, it's easy for them to recapture whatever they might lose, and it is a global deal, because you will see changes, and this is also war creating.
Yes.
You can have war creations. I think we've been having a currency war for years. Everybody's out there manipulating their own currency to try to get, the most impact for their exports. So we've had currency wars for a long time.
And don't you think, and I think I've heard you say this before, that, if for no other reason, that's one good reason, I hope it's assuring anyway. I think that if something would happen, that President Donald Trump would be more able to deal with it than, say, Hillary would have been.
Absolutely. I mean, he understands how to renegotiate debts.
Right.
It worked for him. To me, I still think it's a little different when you're dealing with businesses than you're dealing with governments. But, who else could do the same type of, job? So, to say that he's in there, he's not going to fix it.
No. I didn't say
fix. He's not going to fix it.
I said deal with.
I don't think he'll make it. He can't make it easier for the people, but he'll be able to make quicker decisions, perhaps, and be able to. But I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but that's.
Well, we won't know.
He'll. But I have said that. That's why my main reason for voting Mr. Trump. I think when we're in the ashes, that maybe we actually have a chance. But that doesn't mean we're going to get out of anything painfully.
I think whatever happens, it's going to take, even if tomorrow the powers that be decided, we're going to go back to a gold standard, there's still going to be a lot of adjustments and changes to make. And, the American people, if they really want to get out of debt as a people, individually, or as a nation, there's going to have to be sacrifices. You can't have your cake and eat it too, so to speak. And I'm not sure the American people are where they are ready to do any kind of sacrificing. And, that's where we're going to end up having to go. If something collapses, you're going to learn real quick what you can sacrifice, what you can do without. But it's...
the sacrifice isn't going to be a choice.
No, not at that point. It is at this point, but it's not at that point.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about, and of course, we know they don't care. They don't really want to do anything. They're doing the debt.
They can't.
Intentionally, they're keeping the debt going. And if they really wanted to eliminate the debt, I'm speaking of Congress, if they really wanted to eliminate the debt, they'd start cutting some things. The only things they ever even talk about cutting are Social Security and Medicare and defense. The military. You and I both know that they've got a lot of stuff they're paying for that aren't necessary.
Absolutely.
That could be cut. And they don't bother to do that. And if they start cutting, and this is very, big if out there, the other programs, somebody's going to have to do without. I mean, people that are benefiting from these bureaucracy departments and, grants here or whatever it is that they're getting, perks of some sort, payments of some sort somewhere along the line, depending on who you are and what your occupation is or whatever's going on, you're going to have to make a sacrifice. That's going to be cut. But nobody's willing. They want somebody else to do the sacrifice. Nobody else is willing to do that themselves. So,
you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, we've gotten to be a pretty spoiled people. Mm-hmm. And, it's almost like people like this socialism, because that's basically what that is. Government running everything.
Well,
I mean,
sure.
Well,
and this was long planned. I mean, last week we had the anniversary of the '87 crash. One of my favorite writers is Doug Nolan. I mean, he's the only person that I truly respect as far as, his writing. He is so spot on, and he most of it is not to. When I came across Doug Nolan, he was just writing. He wasn't associated with any companies. He's been writing for years and years and years. To me, I think, and there's very few people that'll tag the word brilliance, but he is, and he's a brilliant writer, and he talks about the bubbles in this country and when they were developed and how they were developed and the different, how the different programs that the governments and who was in charge. I mean, he's really an incredible writer. His name is Doug Nolan. I interviewed him twice. And he wrote his last article, I'm going to put in our newsletter. So make sure you go to dgscoins.com, sign up for the weekly newsletter because it'll be in this coming Mondays. But we had the 87 crash anniversary. And he goes on, and everybody was expecting, there would be another one and so forth. But he talks about the various programs. And when I got done reading his weekly article, it was just like, he puts a perspective on it of just how huge this is, and then that there's no turning around. And that it is all about the markets. And we've gotten to the point where, they just have to, will just keep going. I mean, they're going to print and stimulate until the cows come home, until it just collapses on itself. So folks, make sure you sign up for it. But he's broken it down to the various, when he talked about the 87 crisis, we have things in today's modern global markets. We have things that can stop the markets from crashing. There's things to, arrest panic selling and so forth. But back in 1987, you didn't have a $3-some trillion hedge fund industry. You didn't have a $4 trillion ETF complex. That didn't even exist in 1987. And so the structure of the system in itself is so cracked and so ready to fall. I mean, it is so, again, it's a very lengthy article, so I can't share too much of it on the program, but make sure folks either go to his website, which is Credit Bubble Bulletin, or just sign up for his newsletter, sign up for my newsletter and see his article in there.
All right, and that'll come out on Monday?
That'll come out on Monday.
Okay. Well, I have one place where we're saving a little money. I thought you might be interested in this. It says Melania Trump is running a lean East Wing operation as she is seeking to trim the fat off the payroll of her predecessor, Michelle Obama. It says here that Melania has slimmed down the number of aides on her payroll compared to Michelle Obama's East Wing operation, who employed 16 people in her office and during President Obama's administration, and she paid $1.24 million a year for her employees. In contrast, only 4 people are listed on Melania's payroll as of June, with salaries totaling a package of $486,700, according to the White House annual staff. So she is slimming it down, and that's a good thing. That's one place. I mean, I know that I never understood why a first lady needed 16 employees. But that's just me.
How many does Melania have?
Just 4. It says 4.
Well,
yeah, they're making a big money.
They're making a whole lot more money.
I'm just saying, I could be her secretary. I could type. I could be her secretary.
Yeah. And you wonder.
Well, I think they do more than that. I think keep.
I mean, that's a good feel. That's a feel-good story. Yeah, and it's nice to see
Hey,
that.
come on. That's a big cut, though.
Yeah, those people get paid very well, so they probably do a lot of multitasking.
Traveling. They probably travel with her. Some of them. They might do a lot of the scheduling and the balancing out. And anyway.
Yeah, but I don't think, even though Melania has been in the limelight a little bit, and she might be more so in the future, I don't think she's going to play as strong. And I don't mean this at all at any disrespect at all, because I wished Michelle would have been out of the limelight, Yeah. But I don't think Melania will. I don't think Melania will be as. She'll just be a different first lady.
I think so.
I think she'll just be a different first lady. In many ways, since everybody calls Michelle Michael. So she will be different in many ways. But,
now.
No, that's positive for Melania. I mean, she's a beautiful lady.
They're not going to call her Michael, that's for sure. But
she's a beautiful lady and very classy. Mm-hmm. And she does kind of remind me a little bit of Princess Di. Princess Di, as she gets involved with children and so forth, and as she grows into her position and so forth, maybe we'll see a little bit more. But I think she'll be taking a quieter road, because Ivanka has probably the impact of, or the what am I trying to say? She will get involved probably in a lot of the programs and so forth that perhaps the First Lady would normally get involved with. So I think they'll see it, I think that's why.
I don't agree with everything Ivanka says, and I'm sorry, I've just got a frog or something this morning. And anyway, they were doing an interview. Hannity has been interviewing her this week in the evenings and playing his interview. And, she has such a way with words.
She does.
And I love to hear her laugh. I think it's so funny when he gets her tickled. Of course, the laughter I get a big kick out of is when they're talking about the siblings. And, of course, I was one of 5. I had 3 older siblings and 1 younger brother. And so when they start talking about the siblings, I get a big kick out of that. And I'm probably the only one who watched during the convention when he won the primary and they had the convention, and the whole family came out there. And Barron was there first. He came out with Mom and Dad. And then the other siblings come out. And the oldest with Don, he reaches around and smacks the youngest, Barron, in the head. Smacks him in the back of the head. It is so typical of a brother. And while they weren't little together, they're still siblings. And they still have this unique, I don't know how, bloodline, this unique personality with one another. And I'm probably the only one who saw that, and I backed it up and watched it over and over and over again that night. I just cackled at it because it was so typical. I raised 5 boys, so I know what they do, and to me, it was just hysterical. And I hear music. We're already going into the other break. You're listening to Power Talks, and when we come back, we have some other things we need to visit with you about, but your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218, and Melody and Beth Ann will be right back.
The Civil War did not end slavery, but it did put over 8 million black and white Southerners into the bondage.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit DiscountGoldandSilverTrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning. Melody, what else do we have today? I know that you probably got. Do you have a package to offer today, or are you
I was holding
the
off
one
to see.
yesterday?
I was going to continue the one that we have. I was kind of looking at the gold prices today to see if they had to be adjusted, and I think we're good. We're still holding at $17 for silver, and so we're looking at the 21-ounce American Silver Eagles dated 2017, a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle. It includes your shipping costs for $550. $550. And people say, well, why do you charge for shipping? I don't think anybody ships the way we ship. When you get your box, I should send you a stick of dynamite to get into it because, we package them that well. They're neatly wrapped inside and outside, and there is going to be no tampering to those boxes. We spend a lot of time. There's a lot of cost. We use strapping tape. We use paper tape when things are sent by registered and insured U.S. mail. And so and shipping has gotten extremely expensive, shipping registered and insured U.S. mail. I remember shipping this little package back 23 years ago. It probably cost $8, maybe 10. Now it costs us $24 and $25. And that's with using sometimes the flat rate boxes where you get a little bit different, discount. And it still charges $24, $25. So shipping has increased, and so we do charge a little bit, for your shipping. But when you get your package, you'll see just how well and professionally they are shipped. So 1-800-375-4188, $550, and give Carla a call. Tell her you heard the special on Power Talks with Beth and Melody.
I have a story that I'm not sure. I think it's true. I hate to bring them out when I'm not sure, but I know that we really do this. But this is coming from the conservative, I can't think of the name of it. I've quit posting them because they have so many pop-ups. They've got so many commercials that pop up on them. I've quit posting them on Facebook. So when I pull out their articles, I just print them so I can read them. But it's a news report that exposes a shocking issue, and it's concerning 152 military-trained foreign soldiers, and they have gone missing inside the United States. These service members are coming to the U.S. to train alongside our own troops and merely walking away from their posts. It says each of these 152 they're talking about, are from Afghanistan. And it seems this has become a way to get into the country without following the usual immigration routes or even applying to come in as an asylum seeker. Being the Afghan military affords them the chance to come into the United States quickly and then disappear to live illegally in a different country. So that's kind of scary. And I know that foreign troops do train within our military because my son was in there and he was talking about one of his best buddies was Russian, and then he had others too that were from other places. But so I know that happens. But this is kind of scary if they're coming in from Afghanistan, and we have 152 of them that have walked away from their posts, and it doesn't sound like a lot of people, but if they're getting little sleeper cells or getting cells across the nation, 152 of them, that's kind of scary.
Yes, it is. And you and I came across something yesterday. It's sort of in relation, but not the same. But this was a WND article, Chelsea Schilling, and
I've read her stuff before.
And she writes about how Mr. Trump signed an executive order yesterday imposing more enhanced vetting procedures on the refugee applicants from the 11 nations. But she starts out by America's refugee door swinging back open as he signed this, and it will now accept refugees from all countries into the U.S. with more stringent vetting for newcomers from 11 unidentified high-risk nations. Now, supposedly, the officials refused to name the high-risk nations, 11 of them, but the Washington Times, the typical Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Libya, Mali, North Korea, Somalia, South Sudan, Syria, and Yemen, that these applicants will that they will be required to show that they can contribute to America's national interest before refugee status can be granted. So I'm not quite sure how different this is compared to the one that he had signed before.
Well, the one he had signed before had a time limit on it, 120 day, and that was over. Even though they had it all pulled apart, with the court system, but that was over. So he's lifted the ban, which really wasn't a ban, but he lifted that and just put stricter vetting on them.
Oh, okay, so it was that.
So that's basically what it was. The one I've got is from Newsmax, and it says, in the White House announcement expected, and that was yesterday, the Trump administration will allow refugee admissions to the U.S. to resume for all nations, but with new regulations designed to better vet applicants. The new rules will allow the administration to collect more biographical data on the refugees and their family members, as well as more thoroughly search social media posts to check, for example, if the refugee, what they say is consistent with the stories they've detailed in their applications. If their Facebook posts are going along with who they say they are with their applications. So it's Tuesday marked the ending of the 120-day ban of the refugee admissions, and so this is the ban is lifted. So they're just going to really try to vet them as strictly as they possibly.
Why wouldn't they release the 11 countries?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess aren't they on the ban in the first place? So it'd be listed on that, or not the ban, but the original executive order or bill or whatever it was called.
But why wouldn't they just say it then? Well, go check it out. It was on the last ban, so go check it out. These are, So I don't know what the big deal is. Why they wouldn't, release it? But.
Maybe because somebody was going to throw it back to the Ninth Circuit Court.
Maybe.
We're not going to list them. You can figure it out yourself which ones
you probably have a really good point there.
Now, I have something that's just worth mentioning, and I'm going to mention it a few times. This is coming up, and I don't know who's sponsoring it, but the NFL is, of course, the big fight that's going on there, and they're calling for a complete boycott on November the 12th, I believe it is. It's on a Sunday. It says, let me see. Yes, here it is. A national total boycott of the NFL is planned for Sunday, November 12th, which is Veterans Day weekend. So they want you to boycott the football telecast and all fans, all tickets holders, and all of it. Just boycott them on that Sunday. That'll be interesting to see if that really happens. And, of course, this came in an email, so I'm not sure of the source of it. But I thought, well, that's kind of interesting, and that would be a good thing to do. They claim it has nothing to do with the national anthem. They claim it has nothing to do with the Pledge of Allegiance, or the flag, yet that's when they're protesting. And, of course, now they're just not airing that part of the football game. They're not coming out until it's over. So they're staying in the tunnels until it's over is what I've heard. I haven't been watching it. I've been a good girl. I haven't been watching it.
Well, there's something else on November 4th. They're supposed to have those demonstrations in large cities all across the country, something like an Occupy Wall Street deal, and they're supposed to be occupying these cities and staying there, until Trump and Pence is removed from office. I don't think they're going to get organized enough to do anything to make anything.
Who is the they?
The Antifa.
Oh,
I
Antifa.
believe,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I believe
All
they
right.
are the main organizers. I don't know if they're the only organizers, and maybe they've just been tagged as the organizers, but supposedly November 4th is their date to do demonstrations, and so we'll see. We can follow up with that story tomorrow.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't seen that one. I think I did hear a little bit about it last night, but I was so tired. I wasn't falling asleep, but I was so tired I wasn't tuned in real good. I hear the music, though.
Yes.
I tuned into that. The music is called Free, and we want you to be free, and the truth will set you free. And we will be back with Power Talks tomorrow morning. You have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.